Did Donovan or Jared practice today?
Donovan was able to practice today, yes.
And how's Dylan progressing?
I think BJ's going to put a release out in a little bit, but that's it.
Okay. And how did Dean practice?
Dean did not practice.
Thank you.
Dave, you felt like a much-needed rest day yesterday. What was the focus coming into today's practice?
Just the details of what we do. Having conversations and showing a little bit of the numbers of where we are on the season, where we've been over these last 4 games, the difference between the two, and figuring out how we correct it.
Milwaukee, one of the division rivals for this group, also one of the top teams in the East right now. How do they challenge your team the most?
Well, I think, the matchup with Giannis is the start, and he kind of drives it, his ability to attack, play in full court, handle the ball, handle the ball in pick and roll, set the screens in pick and roll, and then the spacing that they put around him. And they put Brook Lopez out there, and he's standing out the 4-point line, so he pulls your big guys away from the basket. So I think, from that standpoint, they're tough to defend, and then defensively, they play with great size. They do a great job of protecting the paint, protecting the rim. So they're going to challenge you, but again, if we execute and do things properly, we'll give ourselves a shot.
Has Robin been able to provide any insight on slow down
his
team, his brother?
Yeah, he's got a lot. I don't want to snitch on him, but I'll keep that between us.
Jimmy, the other night, Evan only got 4 shot attempts. What do you feel like that was a product of?
I just think it was an off night. That no excuses, but that trip back in that first game was tough. And give Minnesota credit, they do play those 2 7-footers who are long and challenging, but I think Evan will bounce back.
What did you think of Lamar the other night in the spot start?
I thought he was good. I thought he found a way to help us on both ends of the floor. He brought energy and toughness. And, when we were just searching for a lineup to find something, that finishing lineup in the fourth quarter, he provided a spark for us.
Do those kinds of moments from him make you want to give him more playing time moving forward?
Yeah, again, he's been that way since he's been here. And, every year he finds his way on the floor. And he deserves the opportunity. Again, it's early and we're still trying to figure out lineups and rotations and that type of stuff. The injuries play a part, but he's a rotational player, and I just got to figure out a way to get him on the floor.
Jake, with Karis, how have you seen him in the moment, possession by possession sometimes, when shots aren't falling, being able to impact the game in different ways and sort of be able to adjust on the fly?
Well, I think he's always, and he goes into every game with the mindset of being an unselfish player on both ends of the floor. Just because his shot's not going doesn't mean he's not going to make the right pass or guard the other team's best perimeter player. So, he's always just trying to help. And I don't think, again, some guys will get hung up in the shots falling, but all he wants to do is help his teammates.
Is that, how different is that mentality in the sense of, not being hung up on the shots when they're not falling, not getting in your head, and still having the confidence to do that?
Well, I think it's freeing, because if that's all you're concerned about and shots aren't going, you start to wonder, how are you helping? But when you know you can impact the game in other ways, you can hang your hat on that, and then the shots will come around and fall.
Over the last week or so, teams have shot the ball really well on contested attempts against you guys. How much do you view that as you guys need to play better defensively versus just bad luck at times?
I think if you just look at the law of averages, if you continue to contest those shots, those numbers will go down. It's a matter of how highly contested they are versus, is it a late contest or a low contest. But we need to be better defensively. There's no doubt about it. These last 4 games, we have not been ourselves defensively, and teams have made us pay.
We've talked the other night about, offensively things are different down the stretch of games, and it kind of takes time to build that. How true is that for things on the defensive end of the floor, too?
I think it's understanding the system and then how it applies to matchups that are on the floor, and what your opponent's sets are and what their key sets are. So again, you have your system and what you're trying to take away and what you're willing to live with. But at the end of the game, those things change, right? If you need a two-pointer, a guy who shoots 47, 48% from two, you're not going to want to give that shot up. So your defense has to be a little more aggressive. So, all those things kind of come into play. And winning basketball games and becoming a winning team is both sides of the ball, and it takes that time.
I had a hard time hearing you from over here. Did Jarrett practice today?
Jared did not practice today.
And the Charger on a hot start. What are your takeaways of how Mike G's doing with the team over there?
Man, he's doing a great job. Again, his personality is the type where people are going to want to play for him. He has the ability to hold you accountable, without putting you down. He's extremely positive and knows his stuff. So, it's what we expected from Mike. And, they put together a good team, too.
When Evan's getting these minutes at the 5, what does that do for his kind of development? Just obviously you want Jared in there, but this is also kind of probably good for him so he can play both sides and feel the big man, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. The physicality of some of these bigger fives, where he can find his room to attack. When he's got smaller guys, it's a lot of post-ups and the face-ups and getting to the paint. The bigger guys, he's in more pick and rolls, so now he's catching the ball in pockets in more space, being able to make plays and reads for him. So I think it's good for him to battle both. How are you on the defensive boards? How are you back as the primary rim protector? All those things are different for him. I think it's good for him.
Understanding fully that it's only November, but do some games still feel bigger than others? And does this one coming up against Milwaukee qualify?
Not to me. I can see, why there would be more weight on a game like this. But for us, it's the same thing we talk about is like your standards. So if you're playing to your standard every night, that was one game more important than the next.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, guys.